So I really like the scales on mulga snakes. They just look so nice. They've got beautiful heads. Just turn him around there. Get a shot of his face. They really are gorgeous looking snakes. He pushes back. And that's pretty much how it works.
Hey guys, today we're going to talk about what happens if the worst possible scenario happens and you're bitten by a snake. We're joined by the specialist at Survival First Aid. Hey guys, introduce yourselves, tell us a bit about what you do.
So guys, we got Craig Adams here from sssafe. He's one of Australia's leading experts in snakes, and he's going to tell us today a bit about what to do if you get bitten by a snake.
Thanks, Mike.
And I'm Mike, I'm from Survival. So Craig and myself, we put together the Survival Snakebite Kit. Craig's our leading expert that really, he was the driving force behind this unique little first aid kit.
Well, it was my brains and your brawn, wasn't it, mate?
That's it. So I'm gonna get behind the camera and do some filming, guys. But Craig's gonna answer a bunch of questions here that we hope is going to help you guys if you ever have a scenario pop up.
Straight up, do you want to show us how the snakebite kit works?
Yeah, okay. There's two things to focus on in a snake bite. It's a combination of pressure and immobilisation. So the process of treating a snake bite starts with a decent compression bandage. This is our smart bandage. What we like about this is it's an elasticized bandage, so it's stronger than a crepe, so it's got a fair bit of pullback. And what the science is telling us is that most people struggle to get the pressure as firm as it needs to be. 95% of bites happen on the extremities, so more often than not you're dealing with a bite on the fingers, toes, ankles, wrists, somewhere like that. Let's just assume I was bitten somewhere below the elbow, somewhere on the hand or the wrist. I'd take off my watches and bracelets, I'd roll down my sleeve, I'd keep myself very still, or the victim very still. I'd take the bandage, and the beauty of this bandage is it's got a pictogram or a visual aid to help you get the pressure as firm as it needs to be. So basically, your tension to form square, and that gets you up into the ballpark. It really just forces you to stretch the bandage and get it on nice and firm. It's actually much firmer than people think. What it's actually doing is constricting the lymphatic vessels. So the venom goes into your tissue. More than likely, it's going to get cleaned up by your lymphatic system, which moves fluids up the limb into the lymph nodes and then into the bloodstream where it starts to do the damage. So I'm going to start off and I'm just going to make an easy turn on the fingers. I haven't made the squares yet, you'll notice, and the reason I'm doing that is because I just want to avoid the crushed handshake. I might have to wear this bandage for 3 or 4 hours, that's not uncommon. If you're crushing their hand, they tend to want to wriggle their fingers, and that's counterproductive. I've caught the thumb, and then I'm going to start cranking out those squares. Crank them out, roll them on. When you get these kits, it's worth practicing. You know, I've done this a million times and I make it look pretty easy, but in your hands, first time round, it's easy to drop the bandage and unspool it. What I'm focusing on here is just the overlap. So I'm just overlapping at about 5 mil, 5 or 10 mil, no more. I want to get nice even coverage. So if you find you've run out of bandage by the elbow, you're probably doing a little bit too much overlap. It's going to be unnecessarily firm. So work the bandage all the way up. Notice when you do it on your own, there's all this unwanted movement. But you know, if you're on your own, still do it. But ideally, somebody else is putting the bandage on. Your lymphatic system is driven by muscle contraction. That's why we keep them still. If you're exerting yourself in a snake bite, you are pushing venom into your body. So you need to immobilize, and preferably somebody else puts it on. So that's nice and straight. Look, some people would put a sling on that. I don't like the idea of getting a pinch point, and you know, in the heat of the moment, people forget how to tie a sling. So we compensated for that by putting the bandages into a kit where you've got 2 smart bandages, 1 for an arm, 2 for a leg. You've got a splint to use instead of a sling, and you've got a crepe bandage to attach the splint with. There's a couple of other goodies in there as well. This is one of my demo kits, so I'm just going to show you how it works. I'm going to take the splint off. So I like to roll it out, and I like to leave just a little bit. If I was putting it on somebody else, I'd pre-mold it on my arm just to give it a shape, and then I'd get them to sit their arm, their hand nice and comfortably into the splint like that. It really is quite comfortable with the fingers hanging over the top. I'd get them to put 1 finger here, and then I'd take my crepe bandage. I don't think I'll be able to do this on my own, Mike, but I'll just give the viewers an idea. I'd take my crepe bandage, Mike, if you want to put one finger there. Actually, you're the one that's going to have to tie it for me. Sorry, mate. You're involved now. I've got that there. And just put a couple of turns.
And we're not trying to do this tight, are we?
No, you don't want to make it any tighter. That's the tension's in the smart bandage.
This is just to pin it.
This is to lock it into place. Nice and easy. I can feel that pressure, so I feel confident that the lymphatic vessels are getting squeezed. And when you do the finger test, what you want to see now is that there is capillary refill. You pinch the fingers,
yep.
the blood returns. It might slow down a bit, but that's what you want to see. That means I've still got blood going to the arm, but I can be reasonably confident that the lymphatic system is now immobilised. It's important now that you keep still. It's not possible to put a bandage on, then walk yourself out of the scrub. That would be counterproductive and you would start things rolling again. So there's two parts to managing a snake bite: understanding how to correctly apply the first aid and having some sort of exit strategy. I reckon it's pretty hard to get lost these days. There's EPIRBs, there's GPS units, there's fantastic apps on your phone. So give yourself peace of mind. Have a means of addressing a snake bite that you can understand and you can do a good job with, and have a proper exit strategy. So some way of communicating so you can get a helicopter or an ambulance or whatever you need straight to the victim. That's it. That's the way I'll be approaching it. Never take the bandage off. That always happens in hospital. If they're complaining about it being too firm, they're just going to have to live with that till you get there. When the ambulance arrives, they'll often give them a bit of pain relief just to relax them and help them out. But otherwise, keep it on. The moment the bandage comes off, and that's going to happen in hospital, that's when everything lets go. So it's not, you can't guarantee that you have been envenomated. You've got to go through the processes irrespective if you think you've been bitten by a snake. But if you have been envenomated, when the bandage starts to come off, that's when everything lets go and people show signs of envenomation very quickly. And that's when you want them there with the antivenom and everything they need to make sure they can treat you successfully.
All right, that was a great explanation. Thanks, Craig. Now, a couple of questions for you. What's the best clothing to wear outdoors?
Long trousers, long sleeves, leather boots.
Can a snake bite through your shoes and jeans as well?
It's not going to get through leather boots. Jeans will give you about 70% protection from most snake bites, as will rolling down your sleeves. Gloves would give you 90% if you're wearing some rigger's gloves, just to give you an idea.
Should we be wearing gaiters?
Would I wear gaiters? Probably not. I'd have a first aid. I'd have a snake bite kit with me, with the smart bandage. I think in a lot of places gaiters get too hot and are very uncomfortable. But if I was a surveyor and I'm punching through long grass and it's feeling very snaky, or I've seen snakes, yes, I might put gaiters on in those situations. Just bear in mind, the chances of being bitten by a snake are still relatively rare, and you've got other factors to take account of. But long trousers, denim, something like that, that gives a reasonable first line of defence, but not a guarantee.
That leads to my next question. What should you do if you see a snake? Should you run away, stay still, or jump up and down and make lots of vibrations on the ground?
In my experience, vibration is not really a primary trigger with snakes. It's movement more than anything else that sets them off. So if you feel like you're in their strike range, let's say within inside a metre, the length of the snake, and it's looking at you in a menacing way, that's the time to stay still. The moment it's not paying you any attention, step away. If you're several metres from the snake, take evasive action and just avoid it. If it's heading towards you, it probably hasn't seen you until it gets close. So don't wait for it to bounce into your ankle or your foot, because who knows, maybe it's having a bad day. I'd keep out of its way. All right, so I'm just going to give you a flash look at a super defensive snake. And look, it's an important lesson. Australian snakes are defensive, not aggressive. Once you understand that, you start to see them a little bit differently. But this one is a young tiger snake, and it's extremely defensive. So it gives you a bit of an example. The trigger to get the snake's attention is pretty much always movement. I'll show you where the strike range is, about here. So that's the strike range. It's pretty small. You stay out of that, you are out of the strike range. You push into it. I'm going to push into it with an object, and then you get a reaction. When I stop moving, the snake stops reacting. I'm going to move in again and get his attention, watching it, he's watching the movement. Got a wary eye. If I push in too close, he pushes back. And that's pretty much how it works. Well, the other trigger, of course, is contact. If you accidentally tread on one or try to pick one up, but that's why it's good to wear boots. And, just watch where you're walking and don't do silly things around snakes.
This is an important one that several people have asked. Do you still need to identify which snake bites you?
Yeah, not important these days and actually very problematic when people try to identify snakes. They'll take a swab of the bite site at hospital. That usually gives you a fairly accurate representation of what snake it was. If they can't figure it out, they'll give you a broad spectrum or a polyvalent antivenom that covers all snakes. If you want to get better at identifying snakes, just for personal reasons, get on our Facebook page, Snake Identification Australia, and you'll improve your ID skills no end.
All right, one question I got. What do you do if you're bitten on the torso?
Immobilise the victim and maybe apply some external pressure. But most importantly, keep them perfectly still.
Are there any side effects to antivenom?
Yes, it's made from horses, so there's an anaphylactic component because it's an equine product. So that's why they will only give it in major hospitals where they have an ICU capacity in case the victim goes into shock, and they will usually administer antivenom with adrenaline to help mitigate against it.
Is it true baby brown snakes inject more venom than the adult brown snakes?
Not more venom, but their venom is slightly different because they feed on lizards, mostly small skinks, as babies. When they get to a certain size, they transition to mammals. Their venom undergoes some changes. The antivenom you receive will be made or derived from adult snakes, so it won't be as effective on the juvenile snakes, but it will still work. I think that's where that half-truth or myth has come from.
Now, is the venom carried through the bloodstream or through the muscles?
Typically it goes through your lymphatic system, so Australian snakes have relatively small fangs. Most bites are puncture marks into the tissue. That's cleaned up through your lymphatic vessels, which, as I said, is pushed along by movement, like a low pressure pump. Once it gets into your bloodstream, that's where Australian snake venoms do most of the damage. And you see symptoms very, very early as soon as it hits the bloodstream.
All right, guys, thank you so much for answering those questions for me. That was actually really helpful for me as well, personally, and I hope it's helped everyone else. How about we give away a couple snake bite kits? You happy to do that?
Yes.
Always. We got plenty of them, and part of our mission, Paulie, is and your followers, is we want to empower, educate, give everyone a better chance and have a better crack should this situation, unlikely but ever arise.
Yeah, and just to top that off, camping and getting out in the wilderness is just such a wonderful activity to do, and you should never let an unrealistic fear of snakes interfere with that. It's all about education, preparation to give yourself that peace of mind. I take my kids all sorts of places, so does Mike. We don't worry about, we're parents, we worry about snake bite, but we know that we know how to manage a snake bite, and that just gives you the confidence that you're looking for. Our Facebook page, the Snake Identification Australia, if you're particularly phobic of snakes, that page will do you no end of good just by looking and learning about a whole lot of different snakes in different contexts, as well as sharpening up your IDs. Then you've got our other Facebook pages, you've got Survival, and we've got that dialogue that we maintain with our clients and you guys at all times.
Yeah, the Snake ID Australia. So, a funny story, my wife hates snakes.
Yes.
Absolutely hates them. But having gone through the whole snake, because she responds to all the questions on social media with Craig's help, and then also going on to Snake ID Australia and just it sort of desensitizes the fear that's there.
Yeah, and I think it gets your curiosity going.
Yeah.
So you're thinking with the front of your brain instead of having a fear reaction.
Yeah, and so and we've been just traveling around Australia in the caravan for 12 months, and we've been hiking nearly every single day. And the only time we get scared now is if we forget to take the snake bite kit with us on the hike.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen because now the moment you walk away from the car and it's not connected onto the backpack or onto my 2-year-old's carry pouch, which I carry him here and I carry the snake bite kit on me. That's the one time if it's not there, we're like, hey, we've got to go back and get it. And we've seen snakes all around Australia, but it's part of our life. So we want to, I guess our motto is get out, don't live in fear. Just have the equipment and have the knowledge about what to do.
Yeah, live your life and enjoy it. Don't let those things get in the way.
Yeah.
How about we do 3 kits? If someone writes in the comments, what they found the most helpful about the information that was given in this video.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much. I know you guys are really busy. We've been trying to organise this for 3 years now. We finally got there.
Paulie, I apologise for that. I know you were chasing me and hounding me and just stuff, and then COVID hit and everything. And Craig's a hard man to pin down, but we got him today, and he's got a big gig on tonight. He's also a muso, and he's playing at the McMaster's Surf Club. So yeah.
I'm more nervous about that than I am about snakes. True.
No, I thought this was just very important information everybody should know.
Yes. And look, keep yourself current. You know, get on the Facebook page, get on our Facebook page, Survival, ask questions,
And practice. Get the bandage out. Like my 6-year-old daughter, now 7, she gets it out, rolls it on, so she can do it. If you do get the kits, practice it over a red wine or a beer with your partner and family. You know, get it out and have a crack.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Enjoy the bush.
All right, thank you very much, guys. And thanks everyone that's watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Catch us later.